All right, everybody. Good to see you all again. Welcome again back to the reading session where I open my virtual window and stand on my virtual balcony and read into the very real and actual abyss during times of human pause. We're reading pieces of text that seem to be in dialogue with some idea of that great expansive mystery. So today, to help our reflections and our boredom of hearing my voice all the time, we've invited a guest, an expert on the writings and experiences and life of Beethoven. And I will introduce my dear friend and the musical master, actually has a master's, but also just a general master.
I'm also just a master of music, yeah.
Just a master of music.
I've mastered it.
All forms. David Elsenbroich, and I will leave it here to let David introduce what he's going to read, and David to talk about it as he wants to a little bit, and then jump on in.
Wow, thank you for that introduction, Anthony. How flattered I am to be here, and flattered I am to be your friend. And I miss you. As you said, I will be reading a letter that Beethoven wrote that has come to be known as the Heiligenstadt Testament. This famous document, drafted in the form of a testament addressed to his two brothers, was found among Beethoven's affects when he died. It had been written 25 years earlier in the village of Heiligenstadt, on the outskirts of Vienna. At the most critical moment in the composer's life, when he had to face the fact that his deafness was progressive and probably incurable. So this is the letter to his brothers. For my brothers Karl and Johann Beethoven, O ye men who think or declare that I am hostile, stubborn, or misanthropic, how you wrong me. You do not know the secret motive of what seems to thus to you. From childhood, my heart and mind were inclined to the gentle feeling of goodwill. Indeed, I was ever disposed to accomplish great feats, but only reflect that for the last 6 years an incurable condition has seized me, worsened by senseless physicians, treated from year to year in the hope of improvement, finally compelled to the prospect of a lasting ailment, whose curing may perhaps take years or indeed be impossible. Perhaps with a fiery, lively temperament, susceptible even to the diversions of society, I soon had to keep myself, pass my life in solitude. If I attempted from time to time to rise above all this, oh, how harshly then I was repulsed by the doubly sad experience of my bad hearing. Yet I could not say to people, speak louder, shout, for I am deaf. Alas, how could I then acknowledge the weakness of a faculty which ought to be more perfect in me than in others, a faculty I once had the highest degree of perfection, such perfection as only few of my callings surely have or have had. Oh, I cannot do it. Therefore forgive me if you see my withdrawing when I should gladly join you. My misfortune affects me doubly, since it causes me to be misunderstood. Diversions in human society, civilized conversation, mutual effusions cannot take place for me. All but alone, I enter society no more than is required by the most urgent necessity. I must live like a banished man. If I approach a company, a hot anxiety invades me, because I am afraid of being exposed to the danger of letting my condition be noticed. Thus has it been for this half year too, which I have spent in the country, my wise physician having ordered me to spare my hearing as much as possible. He nearly met my present disposition, even though I have sometimes let myself be led astray by an urge for society. But what mortification if someone stood beside me and heard a flute from afar, and I heard nothing, or someone heard a shepherd singing, and I heard nothing. Such happenings brought me close to despair. I was not far from ending my own life. Only art held me back. It seemed impossible to me that I should leave the world before I had produced all that I felt I might. And so I spared this wretched life, truly wretched. A body so susceptible that a somewhat rapid change can take me from the best condition to the worst. Patience. So now I must choose her for my guide. I have done so. I hope that my decision to preserve may endure until it please the exonerable fates to break the thread. Perhaps I will improve, perhaps not. I am resigned. To be forced already in my 28th year to become a philosopher is not easy, and harder for an artist than for anyone else. Deity, thou lookest down into my innermost being. Thou knowest it. Thou seest that charity and benevolence dwell within. O men, when you read this someday, think then that you have wronged me, and let any unhappy man console himself by finding another one like himself. One who, despite nature's impediments, yet did what was in his power to be admitted to the ranks of worthy artists and men. And so it is done. I hasten with joy towards my death. Should it come before I have had an opportunity to disclose all my artistic capacities, then it shall still have come too soon despite my hard destiny, and I should indeed wish it came later. Yet even then, I am content. Does it not free me from an endless suffering state? Come when you will, I'll meet you bravely. Farewell, and do not wholly forget me in death. I have deserved it of you, for in life I thought of you often. In order to make you happy, so may it be. Ludwig van Beethoven, Heiligenstadt, 6th of October, 1802. 4 days later, Beethoven added a heartrending postscript. Postscript. Heiligenstadt, 10th October, 1802. And so I bid you farewell, and sadly too, yes, the cherished hope, which I brought here with me, that I might be cured, at least up to a point. It must be abandon me completely now. As autumn leaves fall away, wither, so has it too wilted for me. I go from here much as I came. Even the high courage that often inspired me during the lovely days of summer has vanished. O Providence, grant me one day of pure joy. The inner reverberation of true joy has long been a stranger to me. O when, O deity, may I feel it once more in the temple of nature and mankind. Never? No. Oh, it would be too hard. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony in D minor, fourth movement, the Ode to Joy, a vision of a possible utopian future. Alle munschen, werden, Brüder, all men shall be brothers. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, David. I really appreciate that. It's so great to hear the words of somebody writing from, more than 100 years ago, telling us for the future men that will read this, it just puts this great perspective on that. You feel in communication with these words. So thank you for that, and for giving us a reminder of how beautiful his music is. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and remember that you can watch the previous reading sessions here, and you can come back at 4 p.m. Pacific time every day but Monday and live with us in this virtual space as we read these texts. Thanks again, David.
Gute Nacht.
I'll see you tonight.
Auf Wiedersehen. I wonder if you could see.
See what?
I cried on camera. The ode to joy. I was like blubbering.
What a good actor you are.
Yeah. Is it still recording?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, is it still recording?
I'm not sure. I exited, but I forgot to hit end meeting. But anyway, I edit the recording.
Is it still recording? Yeah.
But I think it's recording from